All right, good evening, everyone. This is our regular council meeting of December 10th, 2025. It is 6:30 and I will call the meeting to order and acknowledge that all members of council are present. This is our last regular council meeting of 2025. Before I begin, I'd like to state the township land acknowledgement. The township of Adjala-Tosorontio is situated on the lands within Treaty 18, being the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe peoples, including the Ojibwe, the Adjala, and the Potawatomi nations, collectively known as the Three Fires Confederacy. This land is home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We acknowledge Indigenous peoples as stewards of the land, and we honor their resilience as well as their culture and of our shared respect for the lands, plants, animals, and waterways, which sustains us all. We recognize the injustices against Indigenous peoples and are mindful that the decisions of government impact our shared land and all of the inhabitants. We commit to reconciliation as a journey to foster Indigenous cultural awareness and educational opportunities, establish respectful and healthy relations with Indigenous peoples, continue to steward the land and its inhabitants, and to cultivate an inclusive community for all. So this evening there was no closed session, so we are at the open session part of the agenda. Item 4 is additions. Are there any additions from council this evening for the agenda? Seeing none. And we're at item 5, which is the adoption of the agenda. The recommendation is that the agenda for the regular council meeting held on Wednesday, December 10th, 2025 be adopted as presented. Mover, please. Councillor Cox, and a seconder, please. Councillor Simpson. All those in favor? That's carried. And then we are on to the minutes. Sorry, disclosure of pecuniary interest first. Item 6, are there any disclosures at the present time? Okay, seeing none. If you do find yourself in a spot for disclosure at a later time, please declare then. And now we're on to adoption of minutes, item 7. And the recommendation is that the minutes of the regular council meeting held on Wednesday, November 12th, 2025 be adopted as presented, and that the minutes of the special council meeting held on Wednesday, November 26th, 2025 be adopted as presented, and that the minutes of the special council meeting held on Friday, November 28th, 2025 be adopted as presented. Are there any questions on the minutes? Councillor Meadows? Okay. So we have it moved for the first 2 paragraphs of that recommendation. Do I have Deputy Mayor Locks moved, seconded, please, for the first 2? Councillor Cox. Okay, so on the excuse me, on the first 2 minutes of November 12th and November 26th, all those in favor? That's carried. All right, and then let me get a mover and seconder on the floor before we go into that discussion for Councillor Meadows. Mover for the November 28th, 2025 minutes, please. Deputy Mayor Locks, and a seconder, please. Councillor Simpson. Okay. Councillor Meadows.
On the 2028 meeting, on the meeting for the November 2028, 2025 meeting, I personally believe that the minutes do not reflect what was discussed about within the in-camera session. I therefore would call a recorded vote on those particular minutes, please.
Okay, thank you. So you're suggesting no amendments to those minutes?
Well, I would amend the fact that that actually I can't talk about what I want on the amendment, because then I'd be discussing what was said in camera. So.
Okay. All right, appreciate that. So we have a recorded vote then on the minutes for November 28th. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Your Worship. Through to Councillor Meadows, in favor or against?
Against.
Councillor Borzos, in favor or against?
In favor.
Councillor Cox, in favor or against?
Abstained.
Councillor O'Leary, in favor or against?
I'll abstain also.
Councillor Simpson, in favor or against?
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Laux, in favor or against?
In favor.
And Mayor Anderson, in favor or against?
In favor?
That's 4 in favor, 3 against.
Motion carries 4-3. All right, so we're on item 8, which is presentations, and there are none this evening. And then item 9, deputations, and we have one this evening. So we have Lisa Thompson, Executive Director of Ontario Federation of Trail Riders, with regards to the Green Plate off-road motorcycles. So welcome, Lisa, and thank you very much for coming in this wintry weather that we're having in Adjala-Tosorontio. So I do believe we will get your slide deck up in a moment there. And if you can just make sure that green light is on for you, and then you're all set to go.
On. Can you hear me okay? Awesome. Thank you. Perfect. So as Mayor Anderson presented me, my name is Lisa, and I am the Executive Director of the Ontario Federation of Trail Riders. Next slide, please. So just a little bit about us. The Ontario Federation of Trail Riders is an off-road motorcycle association, and we were founded in 1992. We have one major club here in Simcoe County, which is the Simcoe County Off-Road Riders Association, and they were founded in 2007. Throughout our federation, we have 15 clubs. We are similar to the local ATV club, except we are the two-wheel community. And we have 15 clubs throughout the province, and we represent just under 6,000 members, and we have about 4,000 kilometers of trail. Simcoe County Off-Road Riders is actually our largest club, and Simcoe County is our most sought-after area for people to ride in, especially from Toronto and the GTA. We have a very strong land use agreement with Simcoe County and a very, very tight relationship. As part of that, we also come with $15 million liability insurance, which protects the landowner, Simcoe County. We have a very active trail steward program with a lot of trail stewards out, throughout the area. And we have a very close relationship with the local ATV club, which is Central Ontario ATV. Next slide, please. So why we are here? We are here to update the bylaws. We noticed that the bylaws for Adjala-Tosorontio only state ATVs. So what we'd like to do is have those bylaws updated to reflect the newest legislation, which was the Ontario Regulation 31603. In there, it lists all of the off-road user groups, which includes already ATVs, but side-by-sides, which we do know that a lot of people use them, and it also includes off-road motorcycles. Next slide, please. So why this matters? It ensures that the local bylaws are being consistent with provincial legislation. It also provides clarity for enforcement and for the riders. It supports responsible access and recreation to the community, and it also allows legal access for people at a no-cost recreational opportunities. And it also, this isn't open for children. You need to have a minimum of a G2 or an M2 to ride on the side of the roads. But even here in, Adjala-Tosorontio, there's a few different forest tracks that do connect. There's the Walwyn track as well as the Modrich track. So this would be able to have continuity throughout the trail network. Next slide, please. So back in 2019, the government enacted the Better People for Better Smarter Business Act, which was the update to the Highway Traffic Act. And in this is when they introduced the side-by-sides as well as off-road motorcycles. Next slide. So presently, the off-road vehicles, when they passed this bylaw, they basically said that it was up to the municipalities to pass a bylaw preventing off-road motorcycles. However, with a lot of municipalities, they already had existing bylaws maybe allowing them, but they're not actually open enough to have all the other user groups in there. So in Adjala-Tosorontio's bylaws, it's Ontario Regulation 31603 made the Highway Traffic Act amended to be all-terrain vehicles and provide regulations governing these operations as all-terrain vehicles. So it's strictly, as you may know, says just only all-terrain vehicles. Next one. So again, this is, sorry, just going through the definition again, of exactly what it says in yours. Next slide, please. So what we're asking for is that Adjala-Tosorontio update the bylaws to, from using the term ATV to the term ORV, which includes all motorized vehicles and includes the ATVs, side-by-sides, and ORMs. So, and then the off-road vehicle is ORM, ORV. ORM is off-road motorcycle, ORV is off-road vehicle. And I did give you guys a little slip that was attached, which I think you guys all have. Next slide. So specifically, if you don't want side-by-sides and you just want to stick to ATVs and leave side-by-sides out, the other thing that we could ask for is just to say specifically have ORMs, or off-road motorcycles, and there's a definition: steering wheel, has 2 seats, does not have a sidecar, etc. And the other thing that we just ask in your bylaws is we do notice that it mentioned COATV. So we're just wondering if you could also update those bylaws for ATV OFTR and SCORA, Simcoe County Off-Road Riders. Just because the county of Simcoe requires anybody using the forest tracks to be a member of the OFTR. And then the local club is Simcoe County Off-Road Riders. Anybody have any questions?
Great, thank you very much. That's quick and efficient presentation. I just wanted to start and just again, thank you for coming in and appreciate your insight on this. Just to provide get some clarity as well. And I know you mentioned the COTVA that's in our current bylaw. And that was, of course, they made presentations to council at the time we were redeveloping our bylaw, and so we made mention of them because they were the prominent organization at the time. So just for some historical clarification on that one. And then I just wanted to acknowledge as well, because the province, as you mentioned in your slide, has now passed legislation to permit off-road vehicles throughout the province. Years ago, that was not the case. The province restricted all off-road vehicles, and it was up to the municipalities to determine if they wanted to have that use in the municipalities. And so our township has had that use for a number of years, probably one of the first ones to actually implement a bylaw to allow at least the ATVs. So I do understand the concept that things have evolved since. There are different vehicle types and things like that. So we will certainly look at that as staff, and in the next, can't promise you what the timelines would be, but certainly in the next year to review bylaws. And this is something that would be on the radar for sure, to look at what updates we can do to the bylaw to make sure it's conformity. I was actually having a conversation with staff earlier on saying, we want to make sure it conforms, but I don't think it restricts right now. I think the provincial legislation trumps ours, of course. So there wouldn't be an enforceability aspect within our bylaw that it would, the police would look at the provincial legislation before they would look at ours.
Okay.
So I don't think it restricts anyone using the vehicles, but it's certainly for conformity exercise to make sure that we have that in our bylaw to match what the province is saying.
That's appreciated, because we don't want to put any mapping on to have anybody have any sort of tickets. So that makes me feel better. Thank you.
Yes, I that's my interpretation of it. That's simply, the police look at the Highway Traffic Act, and that's what they're going to follow.
Perfect.
Right.
Thank you.
I did see some hands on this side, so I got Councillor O'Leary.
Through the chair, mine is just a question of knowledge, because I have no knowledge of your operation. But under whose authority, who monitors the trails and make sure that people are doing things? Is that the OPP or?
It depends on the area. So for Simcoe County, we have the Simcoe County bylaw that comes out to this, depending on which area it is, as well as the OPP. And we have trail wardens. Like, our trail wardens can't ticket, they can educate and they can inform, and they can of course call the police if it gets bad. But yeah, we do a lot of blitzes with OPP or bylaw.
And supplementary to that, is there a crossover between the snowmobile clubs and your club also?
Well, we do a handoff. So we have the trails from May 1st until December 1st, and then we hand it off to the snowmobile clubs. We don't have any sort of formal relationship, but a lot of our riders do ride both.
Yeah, thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Appreciate your presentation.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Okay.
Seeing none.
Well, thank you very much again for
Thank
coming
you.
in, and we appreciate it, and we will certainly be looking into it.
Thank you. And thank you for your time, everybody.
All right, and safe travels home.
Thank you.
All right, Council, so there's a recommendation that the deputation from Lisa Thompson, Executive Director, Ontario Federation of Trail Riders, regarding green-plated off-road vehicles be received. And do I have a mover for that recommendation? I have Councillor Cox and seconded by Councillor Borzos. And all those in favor? And that is carried. All right, so we are on to public meetings, which there are none this evening as well. And then item 11, which is public comment. Members of the public may request their comments to be read by the clerk or present their comments orally. Only public comments related to an item on the agenda listed as staff reports, correspondence, or bylaws will be considered. Members of the public wishing to submit public comments can do so in writing to our clerk no later than 12 noon on the day of the meeting. Is there anyone in attendance who would like to provide their comments? And if so, please raise your hand, and once called upon, proceed to the podium. And seeing none. Madam Clerk, did we receive any comments in writing?
Did not receive any comments in writing for this evening.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we're on to item 12, which is upcoming events and announcements. I do have 3 off the hop here, and then I'll open the floor to members of council. So first of all, I just wanted to acknowledge we did have a special council meeting scheduled for December 3rd, and we unfortunately had to cancel that. So that meeting is now going to take place on December 17th, next week at 9 a.m. Here in council chambers. And that meeting is open to the public. Second item I have is with regards to actually a consent item agenda, which is on our agenda, but I thought it would be appropriate to address it at this time. And the County of Simcoe bursary recipient from our township is Haley Lundy. So I wanted to extend our congratulations to her for being awarded the Simcoe County bursary program through this program. And then the third item I have is with regards to the office closure and Christmas and New Year timeframe here. So the township offices will be closed starting on Wednesday, December 24th, 2025 at 12 noon for the holidays, and will reopen on Friday, January 2nd, 2000. I was going to give you guys another week. Friday, January 2nd, 2026 at 8:30 a.m. And on behalf of the township, members of council, and staff, I would like to wish everyone a happy holiday season and best wishes for a successful 2026. So I'll open the floor to other members of council. Deputy Mayor Laux.
Thank you through the chair. This year's Allison Lions Club Christmas Hamper Program in association with the EFFA and the ATFD collected 6,350 pounds of food in Everett and in Lyle during the Christmas parade in Lyle. This has been going on for 20 years now, with collections totaling over 110,000 pounds to date. This year will help 150 or 180 families, which includes 290 children, and it's still, the numbers are still going up. So thank you for all those who donated, and thanks to all the volunteers. Special thanks go out to Imagine Landscaping. They always provide some extra food that's needed. And Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all. Thank you.
Thank you. Just clarification on what's been total collected, because I heard if you want to put it in the framework of what they said on Sunday at the station, it fills 4 tractor trailers for the food that's been collected over the 20 years.
Correct. So with the 6,350 of this year, and I believe we were roughly around 104,000 pounds. We've just cleared 110,000 pounds of food to date, and that's just collections in Everett and Lyle, not including everything else the Lions Club does. So pretty impressive.
Absolutely.
And a great cause. Thank you.
Councilor Meadows, I saw your hand.
Yeah, this week Hanukkah starts, and I just wish everybody a happy Hanukkah, Hasamea, and it's the Festival of Lights, so enjoy.
Thank you. Other announcements? Okay. All right, so we're on to item 13, which is the consent agenda. Are there any items of sorry, did you have an update? Yes, you certainly don't. I'll go to the CIO for an administrative update.
Right, through you, Mr. Mayor, will be quick. Not something that has going to happen, but something that is currently happening. The public may see some new names on our snow plows as they drive around. We had a competition and I came up with a number of very fun names for our snow plows. So if you see them go by, please take a look. And now they actually all have names. My favorite one is Scoop Dog. I really like that one. And there was a number of other whimsical names that, again, just adds a little bit of fun to the winter.
There a Bob?
There's lots of Bobs. Lots of Bobs. And just to note that we did have a public information center yesterday from 6 to 8 for our official plan. We had boards posted, which will actually be left up in the hallway. So if anybody would like to come by and take a look at some of the parts of our official plan. And we also have things posted on our website with regard to that, opportunities for comment and education about that. So I just wanted to let the public know that it's not too late. If you missed it because of the weather or anything else, there is still an opportunity for comment and questions as we move forward with our official plan. So just wanted to point that out. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, so now we're on to the consent agenda. Are there any items of consent to be pulled for discussion? Councillor Cox?
Yeah, I'd like to pull 13.3, traffic calming measures.
Okay. Other items? Councillor Simpson?
I'd like to pull 13.1 and 13.2.
Okay. Any other items? Councillor Meadows? Thank you.
Staff.
Is there anything on the consent? Okay. Other items? Okay, and I'll be pulling 13.4. All right, so the recommendation is that the consent agenda recommendations from 13.5 to 13.7 be adopted as presented, and that staff be authorized to take all necessary actions as required. Mover for that, please. Councillor Simpson, seconded by Councillor O'Leary. All those in favor? And that is carried. 5 to 7. Staff. Okay. All right, so now we're on to 14, which is staff reports. And 14.1, staff report IND 2025-022, development related expansion analysis. And we had the update at the last council meeting. We had thorough discussion on this item. So council, if you recall, we deferred this item until after we would have the DC meeting. Unfortunately, again, we had to cancel the DC meeting last week. So we are holding that next week. So if everybody's okay with deferring that for another month, we can certainly just keep that going until after the fact. So Madam Clerk, I think you had a motion prepared for that.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. Through to you, I'd recommend the deferral motion would read as follow, that the agenda item 14.1, staff report IND 2025-22, development-related expansion analysis be deferred to the January regular council meeting to allow for the council development charges information session prior to consideration of the report.
Thank you. Having heard that motion, do I have a mover? Councillor Simpson, second by Councillor O'Leary. Any questions to the deferral? This will be at the January council meeting. Okay, all those in favor? And that is carried. All right, so we're on 14.2, which is staff report PLA 2025-021. It's with regards to amendment to extend expiry of part lot control exemption bylaw 2024-014 with regards to Tribute Colgan 2 subdivision. And that's blocks 2283 to 289. Ms. Anderson?
Staff have received a request from Tribute to extend the part lot control for another 2 years for these 2 blocks. It's my understanding the lots have not been sold, and there's no change in anything. It's the same as what was originally proposed. It's just housekeeping to until these units get sold.
Thank you. So that's extending the date to February 2028.
Correct.
Thank you. Councillor Meadows, question?
With regards to those lots, so does that put them in a hold status now for 2 years, like the building itself?
They're currently constructed. They just haven't been sold.
Okay, so they're all constructed, they're not sold. So if, what concerns me is the tax implications over the 2-year period. If they get sold during that time period, like, is the taxes
The taxes will not be impacted. As soon as they're sold, they'll be taxed as residential. And we've had discussions about some of these units due to, extenuating circumstances in the past. I've talked to the treasurer about it. We've reached out to MPAC regarding, assessments and everything that way.
Mhm.
And it typically will go, was it a year, once occupancy has been completed?
supplemental? I'm just kind of concerned extending it for 2 years. Like, why is it going to take them 2 years to sell the houses for one? I know you're saying it's housekeeping, but I just wondering what concern, like the houses are built, they're complete. What does it really have to do with the municipality that they're not sold? Should we not be collecting taxes on them if they're completely built?
Sanderson?
I'm not sure. The part lot control will be completed. They're just asking for that 2-year extension. It could happen at any given time. You're saying maximum. So
Well, from my understanding, I might go to either the treasurer or to the CAO. From my understanding, if we don't extend the part lot control, then they have a risk of actually selling those properties. So they can't sell it if we don't extend it. That's my understanding. And I'll go to maybe the CAO or treasurer for some clarification.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to have to defer this one across the horseshoe here. I did want to point out, though, that it is maybe a more appropriate wording for up to 2 years, because as you mentioned, it could be sooner. But with regard to the selling of that, I'm not sure.
Janachuk?
Yeah, through the chair, that's correct what you said. Like, there's that risk.
Like, I don't believe they're legally binding if we don't continue the site plan control. Like, if we don't have the part lot control bylaw, then they wouldn't be recognized as part of the development, and therefore then wouldn't be residential homes to be sold, from my understanding. So I guess I'm not sure if that clarifies any information. The idea is that they want to sell these properties as soon as they can, but the way the market is, they need to have some assurity that they can sell the homes in this 2-year window.
I'm just confused as why we're extending it for 2 years. That's all, like, for two.
Okay, I've just pulled up the letter from Colgan about their request. They have sold and constructed these townhouses. Sale of these 2 units has fallen through. So Tribute is seeking lots ownership will no longer be transferred prior to an expiry date, because the expiry date is February 14th of 2026. So that's why they want to extend it for 2 years. That's the maximum that can be requested. They're hoping to sell them prior to that, but Currently, the expiry of the current part lot control will be February 14th, 2026.
Okay, so it's just on the two lots.
Just on the two lots. Everything else has been sold and,
It's
closed
just,
and
it's
everything.
just that it's kind of strange that we're asking for a 2-year extension on 2 lots
Mhm.
that have already
Been
been
sold.
completed,
Yeah.
sold, and now they're being resold again. So it's, for me, I just can't
Yeah,
understand
they
why
never closed. I think that's it. So the ownership never changed.
the ownership never changed.
Yeah.
So I see. So if there's any lot line changes that need to be made during the sale period, then I gotcha. Okay, got.
Yeah.
It's a little
Sorry, a bit confusing.
it's a little clearer now that
Okay.
I
I read the letter and just wanted to clarify that.
okay. Thank
Councillor
you.
O'Leary.
Through the chair, my question is, if I own a lot in rural Adjala, I don't get forgiveness on my taxes. If I came to you and asked you forgiveness and I built something on that lot, I can't come to the township and ask forgiveness, can I?
They're still paying taxes. Tribute is paying taxes on.
Well, that was just that's where I was going is if they are paying, they're paying like a set value
Correct.
taxation.
Mhm.
I have no problem with it.
Any further questions? All right, seeing none, do I have a mover for the recommendation? I have Councillor Simpson, seconded by Deputy Mayor Laux. Staff report PLA 2025-021 dated December 10, 2025, regarding extension of part lot control exemption tribute Colgan 2 blocks 283 to 289 be received, and that under section 57.4 of the Planning Act, council consider the necessary bylaw to amend bylaw 2024-024 part lot control for block 283, 289 to extend its expiry date by 2 years. Any further questions, Councillor Meadows?
Could we instead of saying for 2 years, up to 2 years, we have up to 2 years in there?
So the bylaw does say up to 2020, February 28, 2028, or February 14th, 2028. So the bylaw on the agenda later has that.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Just changes the date from 2026 to 2028.
Okay. Fine.
Okay, all in favor? And that is carried. 14.3 is staff report PLA 2025-022, which is Committee of Adjustment Council Member Appointment. We do this each year, so the recommendation is that staff report PLA 2025-022 dated December 10th, 2025, regarding Committee of Adjustment Council Member Appointment be received, and that council appoint Deputy Mayor Laux and Councillor O'Leary to the Committee of Adjustment for the period of January 1st, 2026 to the remainder of the current council term. Do you have a mover for that? Councillor Cox. Seconder, please. Deputy Mayor Laux. Any questions, comments? All those in favor? And that is carried. And we're on to 14.4, which is staff report finance 2025-016, 2025 community grants and donations. Mr. Anderchuk, do you want to provide a quick introduction on this one?
I'll be happy to. So the township has advertised for the 2025 community grant program. Submissions deadline was October 10th of this year. We received 3 submissions for grant applications. Adjala-Tosorontio Central Public School Board, $1,000 for their Eat Well program. Everett Legion for the purchase of an LED read board for outside. Funding request was $20,000. And the Lyle Legion, an outdoor sign requesting $3,000. These funding requests total $24,000. I would like to point out that the total available funding in the grant account, as well as unspent money in the grant reserve, total $13,913, which exceeds the total requests. I would recommend either, if council wants to either reduce the amount being requested from the Everett Legion to $9,913 to match the total available funding, or council could decide to draw on the working fund if they want to fully fund all three requests. I would also like to point out that only applications that have applied in writing to the treasurer are available to be considered.
Okay, thank you. So it is, we did just receive these three applications, and I think the intention is for next year to do it a bit earlier in the season, so potentially we might get a few more. But I think to be fair to the ones who applied and to those who didn't, I think we have an opportunity here to spend what we have for budgeted amounts. So my initial thought would be to provide the $1,000 to the Toss School, $10,000 to the Everett Legion, and then they can fundraise the rest for the remainder of the sign. And then the Lyle Legion at $3,000, and we'd be drawing $87 from the working funds to fund the entire thing. And that would be that. That's my suggestion. So I did see several hands. So I have Councillor Borzos, Councillor O'Leary, Councillor Meadows.
Yes, thank you. Through the chair, I think all three are excellent ideas, and I think we should be looking at funding the entire package the way it is. And yes, we would have to tap into some of the reserves for upping the amount to the full to 18 or 20,000 for the Everett Legion. But I think the way Everett is growing and the way the Legion is working and operating at the moment, I think it would be a really, really good idea and money well spent over there. And I'm pretty sure the township could also benefit from the occasional putting up some community comments or notifications. So I would like to perhaps propose or put a motion on the floor to move forward with the full amount.
Okay.
Discussion.
We're not putting motions on the floor yet. Okay. All right, so I have Councillor O'Leary next.
I think this has happened in the past, and I'm not a big fan of giving to one and not giving to the other. When it comes to the new Tecumseh, or sorry, to Tecumseh School or Tossorona School, we're giving $1,000. We should be giving, we have another school in the south end of Adjala that's just as deserving. They pay as much taxes as anybody else does, or more, probably more than you would get in Toss, just because of the value of their property down there. And like, these are donations. Like, they shouldn't have to, like, the schools shouldn't have to apply for a donation. That should be part of our agenda. We should have that in our agenda, and if we can specifically invite the principal of each school to contribute. Like, if we really want to be fair, we've got Union and we've got Holy Family and we got St. Paul's in Alliston that kids from Toss go to. So, I mean, I think we should be donating $1,000 to Adjala South or whatever it's called. Adjala Central.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Meadows?
Yeah, and Colgan. Sorry, I missed Colgan.
I'm just curious on why this is coming to the municipalities to look after these.
Food.
Excuse me, I got the floor.
Sorry.
Why this situation is coming to our municipalities to look after these food programs. All these food programs should be provincially funded, and I believe they are provincially funded. If they're not provincially funded, then there should be a provincial funded program out there. And I think it's time that we maybe send off a letter to Queen's Park and say, what's going on? Why are our kids going hungry? Let's feed them. there should be a cafeteria in the schools, and they should be able to have a full belly when they leave. And I just find it appalling that we've come to this kind of a situation within our school systems that kids are going hungry. It shouldn't be coming up to the municipality to look after these problems. It should be the province. That's why we pay all these school taxes. I mean, I look at the school boards. The school board trustees are sitting in these big luxurious buildings, taking off on junkets across, buying artwork over in France, while our kids are starving in the schools. To me, there's something wrong with the system. So, you know, like, I'm all for feeding the kids and giving money, but it shouldn't be coming from the municipal taxes. We pay enough taxes to our school boards to look after these situations. It's sad that it's come down to this, but you know, somebody's got to start drawing lines in the sand here and going to the province and saying, we need money. We need money for our kids. We need money for the poor students in the classrooms. They're not getting books. They're not getting paper. They're not getting pencils. They're not getting pens. What is going on with our school system? We're paying the taxes. Every person in the township is paying taxes for the schools. Where's all this money going? And it's not chump change we're paying them. And I think it's time to send off a letter to Queen's Park and say something. Like, we're tired of this. Do something about it.
Okay, thank you. And before I go to Councillor Cox, I just wanted to acknowledge as well, and the treasurer indicated this in his opening, we sent money to these schools last year, and they did not submit an application to us this year. So that does say something. If you don't have the time to send an application to the municipality who gave you $1,000 last year, to ask for another $1,000 or any kind of amount, if you don't have the time to do it, then I'm not sure how much time we need to be spending on divvying up dollars that clearly we don't have enough because we've got 13,000 and change. Councillor Cox.
Yeah, through the chair, I personally went to Tosorontio School and advised them of the grants and donation because I know how well received this Eat Well program is, and it helps a lot of local constituent children that are able to, that might not always have the healthiest snacks available. It's there, no questions asked, and I think the Tosorontio School does a great job running it. And you know, the problems within our provincial system with funding is not just with our school, it's also with our hospitals. You know, people also shouldn't be dying in our ER rooms. So I think if we're going to be pointing out funding, deficiencies within the provincial government, it's tenfold. Everyone knows it's at the top, but what I can do at the bottom, I can help the local school out. And that's why I go to them personally and I make sure they're aware of our grants and donation program, because they're within my ward. And if any other schools within any other ward, I'd highly suggest that they engage the school principal, the chain of command, and make sure that they are aware of our grants and donation program in case that maybe if they need it, maybe they don't need it. But this is, you know, it's a well-received request.
Thank you. I think that goes back to my point. They all got the money last year. Councillor Simpson.
Through the chair. So I think last year when the school request came forward, many of the schools had not submitted any application at that time either. And it was a decision of council to ensure that all the schools in the municipality had money for the Eat Well program. So in that sense, I too agree. I think an application isn't necessarily needed. I think if we're giving money to Tosorontio Central, we should also be giving money to Adjala Central and to St. James in Colgan. So, you know, that's just my position. I do agree with Councillor Meadows in terms of, you know, how things are going at the schools. Very concerned when I'm seeing reports that EQAO test scores are no longer meeting the provincial standards, that, you know, there are problems within the school system. At the end of the day, though, as a municipality, our role is not that, and I think we can stay in our lane. That said, I'd like to address the Everett Legion and the Lyle Legion. I don't know if you all had a chance to look at how much money both organizations have. Lyle Legion has over 100,000 in their bank accounts right now. So, when I'm seeing the request for funding, and in all fairness to, any Legion in the area right now, they're doing a lot of work for our residents. I do think that we need to support the Legions. We certainly, one of the programs that I'm seeing is run by Contact, where for seniors, they have programming that is available that are held at the Legions. I don't know that Lyle Legion is one of those locations, however. I will note, though, that when an organization comes to the municipality asking for funds and they have such healthy amounts that they can handle, I don't know that it is, a requirement that we necessarily give them the full ask, because they have the money and have the capacity to do it themselves. I think we need to be careful with the taxpayers' money and how we spend it. Obviously, the Legions are important members of our community, but we should be mindful of the ask and what the capacity of these organizations are when we assign funding. So thank you.
Okay, Deputy Mayor Laux.
Thank you through the chair. And I appreciate all the comments from all the members here. I'll keep it simple. We have a program here that has stipulations, and there's 3 entities that went through the proper process of getting and asking for funding. And unfortunately, I'll have to agree to the fact of, like, everybody knows about this out there. I'm sorry if you didn't ask for it. Well, then maybe there's a problem with management at that location of whatever business or nonprofit it is. It would be like saying, oh, well, we all work here and I bought a lottery ticket and I won. And it was like, well, we all work together. Where's my share? I'm like, well, you didn't give me the $5 for the lottery ticket because I did ask you, whether you wanted to join or not. I also went out to both Legions and gave them the information that this was grant and donation program was out there, and hence both of them came forward. Obviously, Councillor Cox went to the school and they knew about the program. The program is out there, and those who want to know about it, and those who apply for it ideally should get the money. That's my personal opinion. They went through the process. They should be approved for this. Thank you.
Yeah, Councillor O'Leary.
To the chair, I just want to make everybody aware that in the schools that my grandchildren are in, it is not the principal, it's not the administrative staff that funds this or operates this program. It is a group of parents who are elected every year. So if the information isn't specifically given to this parental group, they have no knowledge that there is a donation available. And the same thing is what Mr. Meadows said. When it comes to my daughter and my daughter-in-law are both involved in this council. Every week, it seems, they're coming and wanting me to donate something for the school. Do you realize that our school boards, don't even supply swings or anything, playground equipment, sand. They don't even supply paper. Like, you only get allowed so much paper. They've got readers in the school in Allison that are 30 years old, and they have to fundraise in order to buy new stuff. And that's why I think we should be donating this $1,000. And I think we as a municipality should go that extra step and make it and inform the schools that there is a donation. Now, we have one who informed, we have one who's requested. Did anybody go to St. James? Did anybody go to Adjala South? No. But I still think we should, and it's $1,000. We got a Legion asking for $3,000. They got $100,000 in the bank. I mean,
Okay, thank you. Mr. Anderchuk, did we send notices to the previous grant recipients?
No, not for the 2025 grants. We just advertised it on social
Okay.
media on the website.
Thank you.
As well as informing council that the program is open.
So here's my concern for this evening. We sat here last year and discussed the same thing about the schools. And I'll note them again. So we've talked about schools in our boundary, and we've talked about schools that children from our municipality attend. So if I've got them all here, we've got Adjala Public School. It's public school. Adjala Public School, St. James Catholic, Allison Christian, Tech South, Tosorontio Public School, Banting Memorial High School, Nottawasaga Pines Secondary School, Holy Family, and St. Thomas. So those are the schools that our children attend from the township. But 4 of them are within the confines of the municipality boundaries. So like this is the discussion we had, the same discussion we had last year as to who do we fund? And again, we've only had one school ask. So we don't know if all those schools offer the program. I believe they do. So if we pick one, or we do them all. Councillor Cox.
Yeah, through the chair, I do agree with Ron. Like, I don't think we should, I think this part of our grants and donation program should be automatically assumed. $1,000 Eat Well program. And I understand there's a lot of support. Like I went to Holy Family, right? But I do feel that's New Tecumseh that should be donating to their food program just because the actual physical school resides in their township. And I went to that school. So like, and I have nieces and nephews that go to that school. I still think that's jurisdiction New Tecumseh. If you hear me, you should be donating to that school. But I think that anyone within our boundaries should get $1,000 a piece because these are kids, okay? Little kids at school. They won't have a snack. Give them a snack.
Thank you. Councillor Simpson.
To the chair. I agree. I think any school within the municipality, if we're giving money to one school, we should be giving it to all schools in the municipality. And I do agree that, you know, if a school is located outside of our municipal boundaries, that is not one that we should be providing money to. I think that the municipality where that is located can provide funds for that school. Thank you.
Thank you. And I do agree with that sentiment, except for the fact that we have no high schools in our municipality. So we are
I don't think that.
clearly addressing an issue in the room that we're not helping our individual students because we have no high school. So like these are the dynamics of donating to one individual school versus, so we've got 4 within our boundaries. We've got 9 schools that our students are going to. Any other comments, Councillor Meadows?
I just have a question. And that's with regards to the Christian school. I know nothing about that school. Is it a publicly funded school or is it a private school?
Kids.
Is it, but is it publicly funded or is it private school?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so if it's a private school, then how are we going to fund a private school? I'm just asking the question.
Parents pay.
We did last year.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, like, if it's a private school, a private institution, so now we're going to start all these private schools, like we're opening up a bit of a Pandora's box. I know every kid has to be fed. Homeschool. I kind of agree with the mayor on one sense, but like I'm talking about public funded institutions that have this particular program in place. I don't know about the rest of the schools, whether the privately funded ones, whether they have that in place or not.
Giving the Legion $10,000.
I'm just curious. I don't know if anybody has any answers, or maybe the mayor's right. Maybe none of them put in an application because of the fact, do they have something that's actually going, or do they have a program that's actually working? We know you have one, but does Adjala have one? I don't know. They do? So there, my question's been answered, so.
Okay, I have Deputy Mayor Locks.
Yeah, thank you. And to the point of the Legions having money in their banks, well, I believe the premise of a Legion is to support veterans. So they're not for profit there and sitting on money just waiting to do something with it. If there was a veteran that went down or whatever and that needed medical care, drives to a hospital, whatever, that's what that money's there for. So you can't base not giving the Legion money because they have money in their bank. That money's in the bank for a reason. I once again go back to the point of, we have a program here. There's people that followed the stipulations to ask for donation from that program. And unfortunately, there was only 3. We have 13,000 whatever in the bank, and the 3 people that asked for it, I would gladly give them that money. They went through the process, what's the proper process of how to ask for this. And maybe next year, if we need to put out a program for more people to understand it, from my understanding, it's on our website. It's advertised that it's out there. And now all of a sudden we're going to start going, well, we should give it to here, we should give it to there. I understand where you're coming from, but if the people didn't actually go out and do the work to do it, maybe they don't care as much as we care, or as you care, for a specific school or whatever. We have a program. 3 people went through the proper processes. I think they should get the money. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor O'Leary.
To the chair, I just think it's neglect on our behalf because we didn't know. Who checks social media? No, seriously.
People that want donation money, they'll probably look for it.
So it's in there,
It'd be like-
52 weeks of the year, 365 days? No, I'm just saying, it's for the kids. It's not for you.
Taxes that didn't look into what their tax implications were, and all of a sudden, oh, wow, I paid way too much taxes. Did you spend the time to look into it? No, I didn't. So who's at fault?
Okay. No, my issue is this. We can't give to one and not the other because it's not fair, it's not transparent. Whether it's said in this thing that you have to apply, or we should be sending a letter directly to the principal of every school then, and letting them know ahead of time that there will be a donation. And I think right now, we should just make it,
Put a motion forward.
put a motion forward
For
that next year that every school be funded in an equal amount. I mean, if we're gonna fund a Legion and we're not gonna feed our children, why, what's, no, seriously. Everybody that goes to the Legion has the wherewithal and the money to go out and do and buy and provide for themselves and make decisions for themselves. We're talking children from kindergarten to grade 8. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I don't support the 3. If If not, all schools aren't included.
And homeschool too. Everybody at homeschool should be able to get.
I'm sorry, are we gonna follow like rules here, or are we just gonna talk when we want?
Don't go down that road.
I mean, you're just talking.
I am.
I've got something I'd like to say.
Asked
Honestly,
to say something.
I have my hand up, but nobody's answering, and you keep speaking.
So before I go to Councillor Simpson, Councillor Borzos, anything to add? Because you haven't spoke on this matter second time, and I'm going around second times.
I've been offered the opportunity to address the situation. I mean, in principle, I do agree with the equality in general. I also see Deputy Mayor Lox's point about people who did do the due diligence and applied should be rewarded for their work and for their application. I mean, sorry, Councillor O'Leary, but I don't know if Adjala Central really, do they need the money? Do they care to get this money at all? Or anyways, I'm of the opinion that I'd like to see schools rewarded equally, but in this particular point, at this late in the game, I think what we should do is we should reward the people who actually applied in this cycle, and moving forward, put something into the process where we send a directed mailer to each school, where we tell them, hey, there's a process. This is how you follow. These are the deadlines. If you like it, please apply. That's my take. Thank you.
That process is coming because the treasurer's working on that for next year. Knew exactly what you're going to say. Councillor Simpson.
To the chair. Okay, so a lot here. In terms of the schools, you said these people should be rewarded for putting in the application. Well, in fact, we have Deputy Mayor who just said he solicited those groups to apply. You went and told them that.
They asked me.
You went and told them that
They asked me about the program.
Sure, they asked you about it. You solicited them to put in an application, which they in fact did. Okay, if you want to argue semantics, that's fine.
I told them, and he's still putting words in my mouth.
So
then I'm not done, sir.
It's understood that all three of these applications had contact with council members, and that's why they're here. So let's be clear about that.
Correct. So all three applicants have had conversations with counselors. Are you going to keep interrupting me when I'm speaking, sir? I recommend that you don't.
When you're telling lies about
Please
me,
don't do that when I'm speaking.
When you're telling lies about me, I will interrupt.
There's no lie here. You've mischaracterized things that I've said. I haven't called you any names or said anything.
I'm not going to sit here and listen to this.
Then don't.
The Legion came and asked me, Julius, do you have a donor grants and donation program?
Deputy Mayor, you are not required to sit and listen to anything you don't want to. If you want to leave, you're welcome to leave. I have heard in this council chamber several times where you have said you want to leave.
Gentlemen.
If you don't want to be here, you don't have to be here. Please show respect to the taxpayers of this municipality. So when we're talking, that you listen.
Keep grandstanding.
It's not grandstanding. It's just basic common sense. When it comes to the schools, okay, I think we need to understand that these are parent organizations that are assisting, that we need to give money to help our kids. These are our kids at the end of the day, and we are just helping them. So if it goes to the schools in the municipality, that is entirely appropriate. When it comes to the Legions, and the deputy mayor mischaracterized what I said and said, we don't need to give any money to the Legions, or that's what I said. That is not what I said. What I said is there's $100,000 in the bank. If they have that kind of money, they don't necessarily need assistance for something when they have that much in their bank account. Okay? These are to allow them to utilize their facilities for events that helps them in their goal. that is a good thing. I think we should support them. I don't know that necessarily we need to give $20,000 or $3,000 when the request is made for that. We can give them any amount that council deems to be appropriate. So this is where, when we make that decision, I think we need to treat the schools with a little bit more sensitivity and support. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Cox.
Through the chair, we're going to touch gloves next time? Yeah, everybody just calm down a little bit, all right? Okay, everything's okay, people.
Councillor Cox, continue on with your comments, please. We're not here to be lectured.
I'm not lecturing, I was just making.
It sounded like a lecture to me. So continue with your comments, please.
My comments. I think that this is easily solved, and we give 7,000 to the Legion, 4,000 to the schools, and 3,000 to the Lyle Legion, and we can just call this a day. Personally.
Okay, thank you. So the concern I have, and I've heard it twice from individuals around this table tonight, based on revenues and expenses and what would be in a bank account. And I do not know what is in the parent council budgets for 3 of the other schools that are within our township. And they very well might have 10 to 15 to 20, $30,000 sitting in their bank account that they could spend on this program. And maybe that's why they haven't come here to ask for money. How do I know? We're talking about tonight speculation after speculation after speculation as to who has money, who doesn't have money, and apparently we have the money. So we have $14,000 that we can allot to organizations, or none at all. We could keep the money. We could do what we did the last 2 years ago and put that back and put the $11,713 in a reserve fund and move it towards next year. And we do this again next year. And now we have a bigger pot. And maybe we, at that time, when we have this new policy come back to us and we have the information in front of us as to who applies and who doesn't apply, we're gonna have $24,000 to work with instead of 13. So I've had everyone speak 3 times except one councillor. I'm welcome. We can go around one more if we have discussions here, but we're not really getting anywhere to the point of we've got just under $14,000, and instead of 3 organizations, we are now looking at potentially 6 to 7 organizations that we're giving to. And I haven't even talked about Matthew's House, who I would love to give money to, because why not help somebody at the end of their life? So there's a lot of worthwhile organizations in the community, and we should be looking at, if we're going to be looking at one, we should be looking at all. Councillor O'Leary.
Through the chair, I propose that we adopt Adam Cox's donation schedule as presented previously. We donate to the 4 schools, we donate to the 2 legions, and call it a day.
I'll second that. Seven.
So Councillor Cox, do you have a motion for that? Or?
Yeah, through the chair, whereas don't want to read it like it's an actual motion. My motion would be that we give $1,000 to the schools that reside within the boundaries of the township for their Eat Well program. We give $7,000 towards the purchase of a 2-sided LED reader board, and we give $3,000 to the purchase of an outdoor sign, giving us a grand total of $14,000.
All right, Councillor O'Leary, do you want to continue to move that motion, or would you like Councillor Cox to move that motion? I'm asking you. Okay, so it's moved by Councillor O'Leary, seconded by Councillor Meadows. Madam Clerk, that's going to be, we're gonna have to tack some stuff on there. Let's start with that one. That'll be the main motion, and we'll have to tack on more. Okay. So that's the main motion and on the floor for discussion. So 4,000 to the 4,000 each to schools for 4 schools, 4,000, 7,000 to the Everett Legion, 3,000 to the Lyle Legion. Questions, comments? Councilor O'Leary.
If we want to make this mandatory in the next years, would we do it in this term, or will we have to bring it up and put it on the agenda for next meeting?
That'd be next term's discussion because we can't commit next council to financial, a financial component of the grants and donations. Deputy Mayor Laux.
Thank you through the chair. So besides Tosorontio Central Public School, the other 3 schools that are getting $1,000, what programs are we funding of theirs? They all have Eat Well. They all have this program in their school. Every school has it.
All across Canada.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, other comments or questions on the main motion? All right, so I've got a couple other things. One, this is the main motion, so we'd have to also tack on the first part of the motion that staff report be received. So let's do that as an amendment. So I have a mover to that staff report finance 2025-016 dated December 3rd, 2025 regarding the 2025 community grant donations program be received. So that's moved by Councillor Cox, seconded by Councillor Simpson. So that's an amendment to the main motion, and all those in favor? And that is carried. And then a further amendment, if there's a mover for it, with regards to the Everett Legion, should they be able to fundraise remaining funds and look at trying to come to put a sign up in the somewhat near future. The second amendment proposed would be that council waive the sign permit fee and any applicable building permit fees associated with the installation of the sign at the Everett Legion, provided that the required application for sign permit and, if applicable, building permit are submitted. Do you have a mover for that? Moved by Deputy Mayor Laux, seconded by Councillor Borzos. Any questions on that? Councillor Meadows?
Yeah, I have a question with regards to the setbacks and that. If they're not going to get a permit for this, we waive the fees, but will you go out and inspect the sign before it's put up, even though we're not putting the fees?
So they would get a permit. They have to get a permit.
Yeah, they have. That's what I mean. It's just the fees for the permits. Yeah, yeah. But we will have somebody going out, make sure the sight lines are okay and everything. Okay, thanks.
Any further questions on that amendment? Okay, all those in favor? That is carried. All right, so those are 2 amendments to the main motion. Are there any further amendments? Councillor Meadows?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if we could have that motion in full read back, please.
Absolutely. I just want to make sure that if we had any other amendments to the main motion. Okay, Madam Clerk, I know we threw that all at you at once. So we'll just, when we get that put together, we will get that for everybody so we're clear on what we are voting on for a main motion as amended. All right, so the motion is that council approve grant funding in the amount of $1,000 per each school that resides within the geographical boundary of the township for the Eat Well program. That council approve the grant funding in the amount of $7,000 for the Everett Legion Branch 508. The council approved grant funding in the amount of $3,000 for the Lyle Legion Branch 559. That staff report finance 2025-016 dated December 10, 2025 regarding 2025 community grant donations program be received. And that council waive the sign permit fee and any applicable building permit fees associated with the installation of the sign at the Everett Legion, provided that the required application for a sign permit and if applicable, a building permit are submitted. And I just confirm that the Lyle Legion sign's in the exact same spot as it was last time, so I don't believe there's any implications there. So that's the main motion. Any further questions on that? So that's moved by Councillor O'Leary, second by Councillor Meadows. All those in favor? And that is carried. All right, so that takes us back to the items off consent. So we have 13.1 first. So Councillor Simpson, I believe you pulled this item. Councillor Simpson.
Thank you, through the chair. So I'm concerned about these, about both 13.1 and 13.2. Both of these homes look like they're in a blighted condition. Typically, when we give these reductions in taxes to properties, they're usually fire damaged and not homes that are just generally blighted. The implication with blight is that these are more than likely secondary homes for individuals. These are not their principal residences. And at a time when we are, as you know, the GTA, in a situation where housing is a problem and we're in a housing crisis where homes are very expensive, to see homes that are in such disrepair and in a blighted state means that nobody cared to fix them up, nobody cared to take care of them. And I'm seeing this in many places in our municipality. We see the property on Highway 50 and Highway 9, the corner property there, which is a good area for businesses not being utilized appropriately. We see it now on Highway 50 in Loretto, the corner gas station there, in a blighted situation, not being utilized properly for business. We're seeing this happening in different parts of the municipality where houses are not being utilized, where they're secondary residents, where they're perhaps they're going through the probate process, and it could be that an estate trustee isn't managing the assets of the estate in an appropriate manner. So when I'm seeing things like this, I'm very skeptical. I think we need to be doing more as a council to fight blight, not promote blight. So just wanted to ask if staff have any recommendations, anything they can recommend that we put forward that could fight the blight. I know in other municipalities they have programs where homes that are not utilized have additional tax levies placed on them to encourage homeowners that can't manage the property to either sell those properties or bring them up to code so that houses are utilized appropriately. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Simpson. I'm going to allow the question to the fullest point of answering the question from the CAO. But if there's no action being taken on regards to the application for cancellation, reduction, or refund of taxes topic, then that's the topic we will be discussing next. So I will allow the question to the CAO on his thoughts on that item.
Through your worship, I think what I'll do is stick to the particular topic at hand, as this process is usually handled under delegation authority in a lot of different municipalities. What we could do is take a look into those particular policies and come back to council with some best management practices as it comes to the policy of the reduction or refund of taxes, as this is what we're specifically talking about in this case, two particulars, but we can come up and see what other municipalities have through that delegated authority bylaw and the policy that they have about when somebody comes along and asks for this reduction or refund, what certain criterias may be that other municipalities use, and then we can bring that back to council potentially in a policy or just for information at that time.
Okay, thank you. I do appreciate that answer, but I think it has to come back again to this is MPAC who's looking at assessment. And the assessment is clearly changed because of the state of the property. And I don't really see the difference between an individual having a derelict property versus one raised by fire. Both are in a condition of disrepair. Both could be demolished at any time, which would then further change the assessment when there's no structure on the property. So it should be vacant property. So I understand the question. I just think it's very difficult to differentiate between the two, saying that we have anyone can apply for an application to refund taxes based on a change in assessment. Doesn't necessarily matter for them for the condition of the property itself, but the assessment value of the property. Councillor Meadows?
Yeah, I was just wondering through Ms. Anderson whether there's a demolition permits out on these when they go through, or especially when you get something that's in as bad a disrepair as this, that has a potential hazard to the residents around it, but also with regards to our fire department, if they ever had to fight a fire like that, and there's holes in the floor and everything else like that. So I'm just wondering, is that what happens now?
Councillor Meadows, we've been discussing this. So in relationship to these two properties that are currently in front of council, an inspection was done. Both houses are deemed uninhabitable. Unsafe orders could likely be issued on the property. We don't need to go that far. They will be secured, and in future, demolition permits will be applied.
Good.
When they get a demolition permit, they have 5 years to rebuild, or else development charges will apply. So for the time being, these buildings will be secured to prevent access due to the concerns with fire.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Councillor O'Leary?
Just for clarity, in the agenda here on the like under recommendations, it says 15, County Road 15. So I don't know if that makes a difference, but it did to me because I'm looking for it. I couldn't find it.
Thank you. Any further questions? All right, the recommendation is a staff report, Finance 2025-014, dated December 10, 2025, regarding the application for cancellation, reduction, or refund of taxes 3279 County Road 50 be received, and that staff be authorized to decrease 2025 residential taxes in the amount of $102.92 based on a reduction of residential assessment of $11,900. Mover, please. Councillor Cox, seconded by Councillor Meadows. All in favor? That's carried. 13.2, Councillor Simpson, any further comments on that?
These are homes that are in a blighted, and just that we, as council, probably need to do more to prevent properties from going into the state.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Meadows?
Yeah, Miss Anderson, one of the properties, the farm with the trailer, I believe that's the one we're on now. I believe somebody was living in that trailer. Is that?
Not at this time. This, when the inspection was done, there was nobody living on the property.
Because I see lights on in the summertime there all the time, so I'm just curious on what's going on
You can
there.
look into that.
Okay, I'm just saying, I see lights that are on in that trailer all the time, so, yeah, I know it looks like a derelict building, but I don't know whether it houses animals or whether it's people, but I was sure I saw curtains up and people in there, so.
Thank you.
Okay, any further questions?
I
Any
know.
further
I wouldn't
questions
either.
on this item? Okay, seeing none, that staff report finance 2025-015 dated December 10, 2025, regarding the application for cancellation, reduction, or refund of taxes 3935 County Road 50 be received, and that staff be authorized to decrease 2025 residential taxes in the amount of $1,106.94, 2024 taxes in the amount of $1,079.94, and 2023 taxes in the amount of $1,040.51 for a total reduction of $3,227.39 based on a reduction of residential assessment of $128,000. Mover, please. Councillor Cox, second by Councillor Meadows. All those in favor? And that was carried. All right, we're on to 13.3. Councillor Cox, I believe you pulled this item.
Yeah, through the chair, I'd just like to state that the speed humps, I saw that there was some complaints, but I never heard any complaints in Lyle about those speed humps. I only heard compliments. They're very well received, and I hope the flexible posts, like I say, I wasn't a big fan of them from the beginning. I don't think they work as well as speed humps. And hopefully we can see more within the township, especially down the Colgan area. I think is that we've heard numerous accounts of members speeding through there. They do a great job to slow vehicles down, and potentially if we could, throw some on Webster Road rather than the flexi posts that obviously didn't work with agricultural equipment going by. I know that would probably be well received as well. And the province also supports the use of speed humps and large signs. So all I'd like to say, I'd like to see more of it. I think the staff did a great job, and we should continue this pilot project and expand into more areas.
Thank you. Any further comments, Councillor Meadows?
Yeah, how you doing, John? You finally got some work today. Yeah, I was in Newmarket and also in downtown Toronto this week, and they had speed bumps built right into the road, and it's a gradual incline and decline, mainly for the plow trucks, I would imagine, and it was really effective. If you didn't slow down and you went over them 10 kilometers over that grade, you were done for. I thought they were really well done, and I was just wondering, have we looked into anything like that for our new roads or like in the subdivision areas?
Through the chair, that is something we'll look at. Right now, that would have to be designed into the road itself. Colgan is past that point, but any of the new subdivisions that could be possibly designed into it. The big thing is this is a project, and it was found that every road is site specific. You don't know what's going to work, what isn't going to work. So that's why we're thinking some of the basics is like in some of the long streets in Everett and stuff, a center line. Because right now everybody drives down the middle and they speed. You put a center line on it, that pushes you over onto your own side and it tends to slow you down. So, as little as putting center lines on some of the roads is all that's needed. So we're trying to do it in baby steps. We're not going to do 2 or 3 things on a road because then we don't know what really works well. So by, doing it systematically, then we can move forward and say, this works, this doesn't work. So that's the idea. And we're looking at all types of speed calming devices.
Yeah, any new schools or whatever go in, they should have the permanent speed bumps in front of the schools, because I tell you, that really slows everybody down. You'll take out the whole bottom end of your car, no problem. So. Anyway, thank you.
Councillor Borsos?
Yes, through the chair, I wanted to touch on the complaints, reflect on Councillor Cox's comment. Yes, those complaints came through Everett, and they were for the what we call those flexi posts. I think we tried it as part of the pilot project, and we just couldn't find the right spots for it, so it was obstructive to some residents, so they thought. So we removed those, but I really applaud Mr. Wilmot's idea about the center line painting, and I would love to work with the staff to somehow bring that to Everett, along with a couple of more of those 40-kilometer-per-hour signs within the subdivision, just as a reminder to people, because right now, currently, we only have signage posted as you enter into that, I would call it community safety zone, and nothing within. So I think if that is something that we could look at, that'd be great. Thank you.
Councillor Simpson?
Through the chair. Just want to thank John and the Public Works team for this traffic calming project. Excuse me. I'm looking forward to seeing it in Colgan. I know that there's been a lot of residents who have requested for it there. So looking forward to that. Thank you. Excuse me.
Councillor Cox?
Yeah, through the chair, I'd just like to touch on Councillor Borzo's comment. You made a very good point about the 40-kilometer-an-hour signs, because a lot of subdivisions say 50, and everyone knows 50 is way too fast in a lot of small subdivisions. I do anywhere from 20 to 30 because kids come running out. So that's actually a very good point. I know they did it in Pine River Estates on the last term of council, changing it to 40. And I think that a lot of small subdivisions, it should be 40 unless posted otherwise.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, comments? All right, so the recommendation is that staff report IND 2025-024 dated December 10, 2025 regarding update on traffic calming pilot project be received. Mover, please. Councillor Borzos, seconded by Councillor Cox. All those in favor? And that is carried. All right, so we're on to item 15, which is correspondence, and we have one item that I wish to speak to, which is 13.4. We're good, right? Okay. So just 13.4 on the correspondence from the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority. So as council would be aware, the provincial government has established I'll say an oversight body to look at amalgamations for conservation authorities, and the NVCA is placed in a huge geographical area with other conservation authorities, I believe 6 other conservation authorities. So the NVCA at their last meeting passed a resolution stating that they support the review, but that there would be some consideration that having a mega regional conservation authority model would hurt the development process that the government is actually desperately trying to solve, taking the local aspect out of conservation authorities and making them more regional. So if council would be supportive to receive the correspondence from the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority and to support their resolution, if we do have a prepared resolution, if I can get that moved by an individual. So I have that moved by Deputy Mayor Laux and seconded by Councillor Simpson. And Madam Clerk, I believe you have the language for that one.
Thank you. Through you, worship to council. The motion to read as follows: that council of the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio supports the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority's resolution and position regarding the proposed boundaries for the regional consolidation of the Ontario's conservation authorities, and that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the Environmental Registry of Ontario's consultations, the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks, Brian Saunderson, MPP Simcoe Grey, the Association of Municipalities, Conservation Ontario, the Board of Grey, Sabo, Saugeen Valley, Lake Simcoe Region, and Lakehead Region Conservation Authorities.
Okay. Any questions on that resolution? Councillor Meadows?
Yeah, I kind of support the idea of having amalgamated conservation authorities. It would give more power to the bigger authorities to do more, I think, anyway. The concern I have with the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority is the amount of land they own. They own more land than most municipalities. Not only that, they don't have the jurisdiction to do anything about anything. And I don't know how else to put it. You have a problem, they pass you on to fisheries. Or they pass you on to somebody else, the MOE. And, you know, like the thing is they have no say in anything. They don't mind taking your money for permits, but that's the problem I have with the conservation authorities as they sit. If they become bigger, they may have more teeth to be able to go down in Queen's Park and maybe get a little more power. But the way they sit right now, I'm sorry, we're paying, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars for a conservation authority, and for what? I don't see what they do. That's my opinion. I sat on that board for 7 years, so I don't know. I don't know what they do. They don't protect our rivers. They don't protect our swamps, because you can get a permit and backfill a swamp, no problem. They allow you to build in the floodplain area because they say, oh, backfill it. Build your house on the backfill. So I'm sorry, I have a real problem with the way the conservation authorities have been. And I think they need some oversight right now on the way they're being run. So I think this would be a good thing to go forward. And like I said, I sat on this board for 7 years and I quit the board because I was discouraged by what I saw. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Councillor Simpson?
Just with regard to Councillor Meadows' point, my position is that I understand what you're saying with regard to that, with regard to the NVCA, but the way that things are going, and I sit on the TRCA, there's no changes being proposed to the TRCA, and it's in the current proposal. But when it comes to the NVCA, we had a voice in the past, right? We had people on their board that the municipality could send forward to advocate for our positions. I think in the current iteration and the way that the province is moving forward, we may not have that option. We may not even be given that right to send people to the board of this newly formed organization that's going to include, I believe, Thunder Bay.
Correct.
Right. So that's where that difficulty comes in. And so for that reason, I do support what is on the floor. Thank you.
Councillor Meadows?
Yeah, well, I'm sure we're going to have some say somewhere in the regional portion of it, whether it's a publicly appointed person or whatever. Somebody's going to represent, have representation in this area, just like we do on the TRCA, which is a very good, well-run board. My biggest concern with all these conservation authorities, with their boards as well, is the fact that there's no native representation on any of these boards. Okay? And there should be. We should have native representation on these boards, and I hope with this review from the Ontario government, they're going to see fit to be able to put somebody from First Nations on our boards. I mean, there's the water courses are all native rights as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, there's land acknowledgements and everything else like that, but I'm just saying. And it needs an overhaul. I mean, whether it's Thunder Bay or wherever, we're probably going to be more into the Lake Simcoe area conservation authority or whatever. I don't know. That'll be up for the government to come back to us and say, hey, this is the way we see the mapping now. But the way the mapping is right now, I don't agree with it. Anyway, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor Meadows, and I appreciate the comments. I think the grandiose plan, though, to merge the NVCA with 6 other conservation authorities, all the way down to, this almost to the reaches of southwestern Ontario, and to take the entire north section of this area and then plop in Thunder Bay, is concerning for the fact that we're expecting, residents and businesses to get permits in a timely manner. And, I'm sure there's going to be satellite offices and locations, but if there was no satellite office in Thunder Bay, that's an 18-hour trip for somebody from here to drive up there to take a look at a site, to drive back 18 hours because there was nobody there to take a look. Like, that's going to slow a permit down by a week. So I think there has to be some oversight, and I think that's what the NVCA resolution says, that they're welcoming the aspect of what more can the conservation authorities do to streamline processes to better serve the communities that they're in. And the amalgamations, and to be fair, the amalgamations in Ontario didn't work quite as well as the Ontario government of the day thought that as well. So I think you have to look at the big picture on where you're going to find those efficiencies. And I do want to just comment, because I know you'd spent 7 years there. I've been there for 3 years. Our board meetings are effective. There's a great board dialogue, and we are getting things done. The NVCA brings in a lot of revenue that other conservation authorities don't, which limits our tax impacts here at the municipality. So there are some good things there. And I might add that we could certainly look to the Ontario government if you're looking for some Indigenous representation, but the current legislation for conservation authorities is to appoint a member from a member municipality only. So there's no authority for the board to seek out Indigenous communities to sit on the board. There's no option for a municipality to send somebody that's not a member of council, because it's provincially legislated. And so if the provincial legislature would like to open that up and provide more continuity to their board structure for conservation authorities, and I think that's an approach that they could certainly look at as well. But we're seeing massive changes across the province on a lot of fronts, and this is the latest one. And I think it's something that we have to be cognizant of, the fact that we need to make sure that our residents here in the township of Adjala-Tosorontio are getting the best service they can from the Conservation Authority. And from the recent improvements, the NVCA is doing a bang-up job as far as I'm concerned. They've been doing a really good job. They make money. They provide great educational programs. And I invite each and every member council to take in that information from the NVCA. They ask every year if they would like to come make a presentation to council. They have already come and made a presentation to council. We've entered into the category 2 and 3 classifications under the memorandum of understanding. So we are getting those services. We are paying for those services, and they do a great job with it. So I think this is, again, just a resolution to say that we need a second look at the totality of this amalgamation idea, and not necessarily the fact that we need to continue to make improvements and find efficiencies. So with that, that is moved by Deputy Mayor Laux and seconded by Councillor Simpson on the question that the clerk read. All in favor? And that is carried. All right. So we're on to item 16, which is bylaws. The bylaw 2025-062 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2024-014, being a bylaw to exempt a portion of the lands from part lot control pursuant to section 50 of the Planning Act be enacted. Mover, please. Councillor Simpson, seconded by Councillor O'Leary. Any questions with regards to the bylaw? All those in favor? And that is carried. Item 17 is notices of motion. Are there any notices this evening? Saying none. Item 18 is new business, and we have none. And then we're on to item 19, which is the confirmation bylaw. That bylaw 2025-063, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio at its regular council meeting held on December 10th, 2025 be enacted. Mover, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor Locke, seconded by Councillor Gorzos. All those in favor? And that is carried. And we are adjourned at 8:15 p.m.